again. Welcome to class 1100, which means that when we finish this class today, we'll have 100 classes left. We're at the halfway point of this section. And after 1200, goodbye, sweetheart. Tears may vanish sorrow. All right. Page, gain fluency. I want to do 2 more paragraphs. Page 84, paragraph number 4, 764. You say young people today seem less ambitious and less eager to get ahead. I'm not sure I agree. There's so much information today that we notice things we didn't notice before. Okay. You say young people today seem less ambitious. La palabra ambicioso suena un poco fuerte en español, ambicioso. Ambitious in English is less negative. Ambitious is neutral, usually. If you use it in a negative connotation, yes, it's negative. Yes, if you say, for example, ese mafioso es muy ambicioso, pues entonces that member of the mafia is very ambitious. We understand ambitious in a negative way. But ambition, to be ambitious, in English means tener afán de superación. Inquieto de salir adelante, to get ahead. Yeah. Dice, los jóvenes hoy son menos ambiciosos y menos deseosos de salir adelante. Claro, salir adelante, to get ahead. You say, tú dice, usted dice, you say young people today seem, parecen menos inquietos por superar, o menos afán de superación, ambitious. You say young people today seem less ambitious and less eager. Eager es ansioso. To get ahead. To get ahead is salir adelante en la vida. Yes. To get ahead means to progress in life, materially, to progress in life. You say young people today young people today seem less ambitious and less eager to get ahead. I'm not sure I agree. I am not sure that I agree. Estoy de acuerdo, no sé, estoy seguro de estar de acuerdo. I'm not sure that I agree with you. I'm not sure I agree. You say that young people today seem less ambitious and less eager to get ahead. I'm not sure I agree. There's so much information today that we notice things we didn't notice before. Yes. Now we notice things we didn't notice before because we see much more. And maybe the same things happened in previous generations, but we didn't see it so easily. It was less evident because we didn't have access to so much information. Now it's easy to reach conclusions that perhaps are not correct, or perhaps are simply a continuation of human nature, la naturaleza humana. It doesn't change. Every new generation, 1% becomes super rich, 5% become rich, 30% reach an upper middle class status, fine, and the rest are plumbers, electricians, and they work, welders, etc. And it's the same. People have to eat. And so they have to generate economic activity. Tarde o temprano. Sooner or later, in the long run, they have to generate. Eventually they have to generate economic activity. And every generation has been a positive generation al final. In the end, every generation has been positive. So, and this new generation, the young generation, probably as well. All right. And every previous generation criticizes the subsequent, the upcoming generation. You say young people seem less ambitious and less eager to get ahead. Se dice mucho to get ahead, or to get ahead in life. Salir adelante en la vida, progresar. To get ahead in life. I'm not sure I agree. There's so much information today. There is so much information today that we notice things we didn't notice before. Yeah. It is true that we see things now that we didn't see before because they were not available. For example, haters. Se dice ya odiadores, ¿no? Yeah, te suena, ¿no? Odiadores, eh? Haters. Because everybody, it's a complete democratization of access to information and access to interchange of ideas. So you go into TikTok, Twitter, X, Instagram, and there are millions of people. And all of them express their opinions. And some express vile opinions, mucha bilis or something, a lot of bile, bile escrito, a lot of bile. Well, before, 30 years ago, these people didn't have access to the platforms. And they were simply el díscolo al otro lado, al fondo del bar, tomando. Y ahora está online. You see, so we didn't have access to these haters or these generally negative people. A certain segment of the world population is negative. Negative. Piensa mal y acertarás. Negative. Yes. Más vale malo conocido que bueno por conocer. They're negative. And before, these negative people you encountered sometimes in normal activities in life. In the bar, in the table in the restaurant, a person next to you in another table, you notice the person's negative. Or one person in your family maybe, you see. But now, you write an article. If I publish an article and I put it in Diario El Mundo, Diario El País, online, Diario La Razón, Diario La Vanguardia, any of them, and then under the article you have commentary. 50% of them, este americano que ha venido a España montado el dólar a costa de nosotros. Yeah, there's bad opinions. These are the haters. Yeah. And you receive it. So, but before, no. The person read the article in La Vanguardia and said, bah. But he could only speak to himself and to his friend in the bar. Now he can speak to 1 million people on the social networks. So it's different. It's not so different, maybe. And one more. Page 84 in the middle, micro paragraph 765. I made a snowman for the first time when I was 8. This is true. I made a snowman for the first time when I was 8. I was living in Houston, Texas. I was living in Houston at the time, and it was very unusual to see a snowstorm. It was a huge storm, and everyone was surprised. This is true. 1959. No. 1960. Yeah. January or February 1960. Because I was 8 years old. The following November 1960, I turned 9. And in November 1960, John Kennedy won the election against Richard Nixon for the presidency. But in that winter, the first January or February of 1960, there was a big snow in Houston. Very strange, because Houston, you have snows once every 10 years. Pero era una nevada grande. Wow. To here. Everybody was surprised. Wow, snow. And I remember making a snowman. Yeah. Walking home from school. Yeah. This was the school. This was my school. This book was my school. And this was my home. But to go, it was about 700 meters. And I had to walk down. I had to walk out the school door, walk down to the end of the street, a short street, and then walk here and another street to here, walk down this street to my house. In all, about 700 meters, and I walked alone. I was alone. And here, starting here, I went into the front yard of a house, and I made a snowball, and I started rolling it. And so I was making a snowball bigger, rolling it, haciéndolo, ¿verdad? And I walked down here. And by the time I got to my house, I had a big snowball. I had the lower part of the body of the snowman. And I rolled it around to the back of my house into the backyard of my house. And then I went in the back door. Mom, I made a snowman. I started a snowman. My mother looked out. Oh, yeah. I need to do this upper part of the body and the head. There are 3 balls, big ball, intermediate ball, and a small ball, snowball for the head. And I said, I need a carrot. I need a carrot. A carrot? Yeah. Una zanahoria para la nariz. Yeah. On the snowman, you need a carrot. So I had 2, I don't remember, for the mouth, the eyes. And I made 2 more snowballs, rolling them, and made a snowman. So, and that's the story here. This took place in 1960. I made a snowman. I made a snowman. I made a snowman. I made a snowman. Yes. For the first time, Mr. Snowman, bring me a dream. La ta da 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 da. I made a snowman for the first time when I was 8. True. I was living in Houston at the time. A la sazón. Curiosa expresión, a la sazón. At the time. I was living in Houston at the time, and it was very unusual. It's not unusual to see snow in Houston. It's not unusual. It was very unusual to see a snowstorm. Una tormenta de nieve. It was a huge storm. Tormenta enorme. Huge. Uge escrito con H. Huge. Como Hugh Grant. Huge. It was a huge snowstorm. And everyone was surprised. It was true. Everyone was surprised. People are always surprised when it snows in Houston. Es como una nevada en, qué sé yo, una nevada en Sevilla. Does it snow in Seville very often? No? It doesn't snow, but I nevado una vez, no? Yeah, but not very often. Okay. It doesn't snow in Seville, and it doesn't snow in Houston either. Okay, my friends. Inés Garcia. Inés Garcia. Yeah. This is Inés. This is Inés Garcia. Somebody's calling me. Inés Garcia. She's from Seville. She's single, but she has a boyfriend. Her boyfriend's name is Paco. Paco. But something is going to happen in her life that is going to change everything. She's going to have a traffic accident. Va a sufrir un accidente de tráfico. Un golpecito. No problem for her, but it's going to change her life because she's going to meet her future husband in the traffic accident. The other person in the accident is Inés's fault. It's not my fault, it's not Marta's fault, and it's not Francois Monet's fault. It's her fault. But she's going to meet her future husband. in the traffic accident. All right, let's start. We'll start with it's simply an introduction of Inés Garcia. Inés Garcia is 24, jovencita. She's 24 years old. She lives with her parents. Típico, ¿no? She lives with her parents about 20 kilometers east of Seville, al este de Sevilla. No al oeste como tú, Marta. Yeah, Marta lives, well, her parents live west of Seville on the way. Camino de Cádiz? Camino de Huelva. Huelva, okay, on the way to Huelva. All right. So, but she lives the opposite direction, on the other side of Seville. She lives with her parents about 20 kilometers east of Seville, in the south of Spain. Andalucía, Bética. She's a lawyer. Abogada es. She's a lawyer and works in her father's law firm. Law firm, se dice así, un bufete de abogados. Se dice law, ley, firma, firma de leyes, vamos. Todo junto. Law firm, law firm, law firm, law firm. Okay? No la firma, no, firm. Law firm. So she's a lawyer and works in her father's law firm. So her father's a lawyer too, I suppose. Yeah, in the center of Seville. So she commutes into Seville every day. And her father too, they go together. No, they don't. They don't go together. Inés has her own car because she needs to drive around. She needs to go to the University of Seville. All right. Her father goes and Inés goes. But Inés goes before her father, I believe. All right. This is her first year in the law firm, or in the firm. And she does a lot of the jobs the other lawyers don't like to do. Okay, it's novata. She's new in the law firm. Even though her father is the big boss, her father is the owner of the law firm. Even though she's the daughter of the big boss, because she's new, that's novatada, Cinti, she has to do a lot of the work that the other lawyers prefer to avoid, that they don't want to do, that they don't like to do. She knows how to use computers well. Experta. She's an expert in computers. Yes. And the other lawyers and secretaries in the office always ask her for help. It's true that lawyers usually are not very, son muy los letrados, but they're not very expert in technology. Yeah. And the secretaries aren't either, but Inés is an expert in technology. All right. Yes. She knows how to use computers, and the other lawyers and secretaries in the office always ask her for help. She doesn't mind helping. She doesn't mind. A mí tampoco me importa. Si me piden ayuda, les ayudo. ¿Verdad que sí? Some people are, no, but she doesn't mind. Yeah. She doesn't mind helping them. No le importa ayudarles o ayudarlos. She doesn't mind helping, gerundio, No le importa ayudándoles, o sea, ayudarlos. She doesn't mind helping them. But sometimes she gets the impression that they're taking advantage of her. Sometimes she gets the impression, en español se diría al revés, a veces le da la impresión, o sea, la impresión obra sobre ella, le da la impresión de que se están aprovechando de ella. En inglés, she gets the impression, a veces consigue la impresión, obtiene la impresión, o sea, ella actúa sobre el concepto de impresión. Sometimes she gets the impression that they're taking advantage of her. Yes. Hey, Inésita, hey, Inés, can you come here and help me with this? Quiero sombrear este párrafo. How do I do it? Marcos, come on, it's easy, yeah? Okay. Marcos, write it down. Sombrear, you do this. Okay. All right. Besides, you can go into Google and say, ¿Cómo sombrear? How to shade an area. And it shows you. Yeah, but Inés, you're only 10 meters away. It's faster using you. So Inés gets the impression. She doesn't mind helping them. But sometimes she gets the impression that they're taking advantage of her. All right. She also works on some of the legal cases that other lawyers don't want to handle. Los casos de derecho laboral, en lo laboral. This is a general law firm, so they have mercantil, laboral, contencioso, y fiscal. All right, all of the things, the typical things. All right. She also works on some of the legal cases that other lawyers don't want to handle. She spends a lot of time at the court defending labor cases. Pobrecito, Dios mío. Te acompaño un sentimiento. My condolences, Inés. She spends a lot of time in the court, en la sala, los juzgados, pasa tiempo, defendiendo casos laborales, labor cases. She spends a lot of time in the court defending labor cases. Her father's law firm has a lot of big companies as clients. Recordad, client compra un servicio, customer compra un producto físico, tangible. Los despachos de abogados tienen clients, no customers. All right. So, her father's law firm has a lot of companies, a lot of big companies as clients. And Inés spends a lot of time preparing cases concerning labor disputes. Una disputa, dispute, escrito dispute, se usa mucho en inglés para un desacuerdo, en este caso laboral. Desacuerdos que llegan a los tribunales, we call them dispute. Labor disputes son desacuerdos laborales. All right. Labor disputes. Her father says it's good experience. Yeah. And she agrees. Inés agrees. Yeah, Papa, it's good experience. But I don't like it. All right. She prepares the cases very well. Okay. She prepares the cases very well, but she doesn't want to work in the area of labor law for many years. Derecho laboral, labor law. Los británicos suelen decir employment law, derecho de empleo, employment law. I think the British say employment law. In the U.S., labor law. So, she prepares the labor cases very well, but she doesn't want to work in the area of labor law for many years. In the future, she wants to work in mergers and acquisitions. Como cualquiera, todos. Se gana mucho pasta ahí. She wants to work in the area of M&A, fusiones y adquisiciones, mergers and acquisitions, or M&A. M&A. Se dice mucho en el gremio, M&A. M&M, no, M&A. M&A. Where one company buys another company, or two companies join to create a new one. It's a merger. Acquisition, one company buys another company. A merger is fusión. Two companies join to create a new one. She likes this area of law. Because it includes a lot of financial aspects, which she is studying now at night on a special course that she is taking in business management and finance at the University of Seville. She goes there 3 nights a week from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Okay. So Inés, how much time do we have left? Yeah? No, very little. So Inés, she's working in her father's law firm. She's working on a lot of labor cases. She prepares them very well. But she doesn't want to continue for a long time with labor law. She's interested in mergers and acquisitions, M&A. And because M&A, the legal aspects of M&A usually include financial aspects. And she's studying business management and finance. She's getting a master's degree or similar at the University of Seville. And she goes to the University of Seville every 3 afternoons a week, 3 evenings a week, from 6 to 9, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's why she needs her own car. And her father goes home, but she goes 3 days a week to the University of Seville to study it. And so she lives with her parents, and she works with her father. And she's studying 3 nights a week until 9 p.m. She has a boyfriend by the name of Paco. And she's going to have a traffic accident soon that will change her life. But we'll see that another day. Take care.